Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're doing a review and recap of Love Island Season 2 Episode 4. So we are back to the gorgeous desert and city of Las Vegas in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this returns us to the sexy singles in the Love Island villa. And we actually going to get started with our first couple, which is Moira and James. So with this particular couple, what we find is that, they're having still a great conversation. James is saying how good it feels, actually how really good it feels that even though it's still early, he still care for her and feel for her a lot. And, glad that they were able to meet here. And, Moira was saying, hey, if you get to know someone mentally and emotionally, it feels a lot better. It feels a lot comfortable. But she kind of want to slow things down. Because the biggest issue with these two is the conversation of when to move to the next level with sex. Now, to each his own. Some people feel comfortable saying, hey, if the vibe is right, fine. And then there's other people who, they want to take things a little bit slower and maybe give it some time. And in this particular situation with James and Moira, James is more about, hey, sex a thing is, it's a thing for him. And in the real world, it probably would have happened by now. And, he asked, Moira, do you think we'll ever get there? And she was like, I don't know, and eventually you would hope if you're going to build something with someone or continue to grow into something, eventually that's going to come. But obviously there's some hesitation. And I honestly don't think that if she was to stay in a growing relationship with James that it wouldn't happen. I just think she's not saying it's not going to happen right now. And that it's going to take some time. It's going to go slow. And, he says that, he doesn't have a problem with it. He don't want to pressure her. However, Moira, of course, think they're on different pages when it comes to sex. And, that's one fundamental conversation that any couple needs to have. Whether it's a couple that's been talking for 2 days and they think that they're going to go somewhere, or if it's a couple that's been dating for a while, this conversation is going to come up. And then she take it to her other sexy friends at the villa and says, oh my God, I think he's pressuring me. I don't know. He wants to, he kind of wants to move a little bit. And if it was up to him, it's right now. And, the girls is like, hey, you got to do what's best for you. And at the end of the day, because they're not married, there's no solid commitments or anything, the choice is going to be hers in the long run. If she doesn't want to do anything and she's not ready for this, it's her right not to, just as much as, it's his right to want it, but you can't force each other's opinion. She can't force either way, and he can't force either way. So, they just have to make the best decision for themselves. So, and that's the only thing that, Mackenzie and Caitlin was pretty much telling her is like, hey, the decision is yours. If you're not ready, you're not ready, and that's okay. So, I'm glad that, I'm hoping, because at first I actually ranked this couple in my previous videos as really high, but at this point, looking at Moira, and I don't know if it's the whole sex conversation, but I don't think, she's all in as much as I thought she was. And that's fine, because they're here to, if you're not going to be all in, you want to explore relationships with other people, because there are new people that's going to be coming down the pipeline, which we'll see and talk about at the end of this episode. But at the end of the day, it comes down to decision. So now we are at the coupling. And the guys are the ones that's making the choice on the girls, because one of the girls are going to go home. And James pretty much says he's coupling up with a woman that's pretty, that's fun, that's loving, that's caring, that he can open up to. and he can be vulnerable with. And that person, of course, was Moira. No big surprise because James has always been pretty much all in. He really, 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 really like her. I mean, he sees some things going, down the pipeline in the long run with Moira. Whether Moira is going to be the girl that chooses him in the long run, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, James is definitely pro Moira. So he is choosing her as the girl to couple up with. And of course, she accepted. I was going to say she accepted this rose, but hey, this is not The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. We do reviews on them, but of course, they're not on air yet. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, they coupled up together. So now let's talk about our next coupling. Our next couple. And that's Johnny and Cely. So Cely and Johnny, I think they're doing pretty well together. She was telling the girls how much they are really vibing. She was saying how in previous relationships she's had conflicts with the guys that she's dated. She's high energy, and a lot of time the guys couldn't deal with that. But with Johnny, everything clicks, everything connects. She thinks she's met her match. And honestly, I like this couple. They have so much of a connection. I said the same thing about James and Moira, but okay, we're at episode 4. So from what I'm seeing at this point, Johnny and Cely to me are a match. I really like these two together. She's so excited about him. And Johnny's even so excited about her that he and Jeremiah came together to actually write a romantic song. Now, I don't know if that was exactly for Cely. I keep saying Cely. Cely. I don't know if that song was exactly for her, but it sounds like, she was the inspiration behind Johnny writing that song and singing that song. So I thought it was kind of cool. You guys tell me, did you like the song? I know that the narrator was saying sorry and apologizing to all the dogs. That was funny. So now it's time again for the coupling ceremony. And of course, Johnny says he's coupling up with the woman that makes him want to be a better man, not only for himself, for her, but also for himself. This person is beautiful. Every time they're together, they smile together, they laugh together. And when he's not around, he actually misses her. And that's something that is very profound. Can you miss this person that you're going to choose to be with? So, of course, he chose to couple up with Cely. And again, I rate this couple a 10. I really do. I really like the chemistry that Johnny and Cely has. And they are oozing with chemistry, romance. He really seems like he's all in. She seems like she's all in. So I'm glad that Johnny, chose to couple up with her. So I'm excited about this one. You guys tell me what you think about Johnny and Cely and what your rating is of this couple. So our next person we're going to talk about is Mackenzie and Connor. And really, they didn't have a lot of external content with them. So all I have is about their coupling ceremony, where Connor was saying he's choosing a woman to couple up with because she's completely selfish. She put other person's need above her own. He can be himself around her. He feels warm inside, feel easy. And she's just a teddy bear that he wants to snuggle up with. I thought that was so cute. I also give this coupling Mackenzie and Connor, and of course he chose to couple up with Mackenzie. I'm choosing to give them a rating of a 10. I like these two. He's another one that's all in and, pretty excited about his match with Mackenzie, and she's just as excited about him. So I really like these two. You guys tell me and comment down below what you're ranking or what would you rate this couple? And what do you think about Mackenzie and Connor? Because I really like them. They have the chemistry. And I think they're going to go, pretty far. We'll see as the episodes go on. But I mean, they're definitely putting big smiles on each other's faces. So, of course, even this scene is so cute and romantic. I mean, these two are so cute together, just like the other two couples that rank pretty high. Moira and James kind of came down in my rating, but Johnny and Cely and Mackenzie and Connor is pretty much high up there. So I like these two. So let's talk about our next recoupling, because these two are not a couple. And this is Carrington and Kirsten. So Carrington was originally coupled up with Caitlin. And of course, from the previous episode, we know it sucked, according to Carrington, to be with her. But with this particular coupling, I mean, Carrington says the woman that he wanted to couple up with is somebody gorgeous. She's confident, motivated in all aspects. Open up to, she has a lot of soft spots, the full package. She's beautiful, she's funny, she's exciting. And you know what? Honestly, sometimes you'll see people over exaggerate if they don't actually see those traits there. But Kirsten is definitely everything he described. I mean, in my opinion. You guys tell me what you think. But I see chemistry there. I'm hoping Kirsten is all in on this situation. I know it seems that Carrington is, but, we'll see. I had to throw this one in because I thought this was so funny with with Trey trying to figure out how he can balance two women on weights that he was trying to lift. And they actually got Cely and Kirsten to get on one side. And, of course, the other guys spotted him because, we don't want nobody to get hurt. And I can guarantee the producers in the show don't want anybody to get hurt either. But Trey was actually able to bench these two girls on each side of the weight. And I think that was kind of indicative of what his mindset was, with the fact that he's trying to balance who he's going to choose in the coupling ceremony between Caitlin and Justine. But I had to put this one in there before we got to, what Trey's decision was, because technically, in all aspects, he's definitely trying to figure that out, But, I'm glad to see that, the guys were having fun with that and everybody was safe. The girls even thought it was funny and hilarious as well, but nobody got hurt. But definitely Trey has some decisions to make in figuring out who he's going to choose. Is it going to be Justine, or is it going to be Kayla? Okay. So, of course, the girls are kind of, they're trying to figure it out. I mean, Justine is really, really worried. I mean, she's still having conversations with Mackenzie in regards to this, and Mackenzie is like, hey, I want you to stay, but, at the end of the day, it's going to be Trey's decision, and we're here to explore relationships, but, that's what you're going to have to come to the decision with, and he doesn't want anybody to get hurt. So I kind of like Mackenzie's expression of that. She, even though she wanted her to be here, she also wanted to be fair to Trey too, which was opposite of the conversation that Caitlin had the other day with Moira, where they were just pretty much trying to say, hey, you need to stick around, and then if anybody else come up the stairs, so well be it. I didn't like that. So Trey actually, decided to go and have a conversation with Justine. And, that conversation, went pretty much well. He asked, how would you feel if I choose you? And pretty much, she was like, oh, I would be so excited. I would be so happy about that. And, the fact that, we have a emotional connection, hey, I would love for you to couple with me, and she was like, but, how would, I'm shocked that, you would do this because I never knew you was this genuine, but I'll be ecstatic. And, he asked, what do you mean by that? And she said, it feels like we're on the same page, but I do worry, would you ever change on me? And he told her, he said, if I chose you, you wouldn't have to worry about me changing. I'll be loyal. And he said, as they say in New York, I'm dead ass about that. So, it remains to be seen, if he chooses her, which we'll find out very, very soon who the pick is, that whether or not he'll be as loyal to her as he say he will be if she's the one that's chosen by him. But he walked away pretty much feeling good about, their conversation. She still, even though she felt good about the conversation, the thing is she's still nervous, and that's to be expected because she really is starting to like Trey, and she's hoping that, she's, the chosen one, and it's not just physical with them. It's something that is, emotional. So now Trey go have a conversation with Caitlin, and Trey asked her the same question, how would you feel if I was to couple up with you? And would you be okay with that? And Caitlin was like, oh, of course, I love your smiles and I love your eyelashes and I just think they're so, so cute. And, he was looking at her like, oh, wow, thank you. He was really blushing by that. And, she was smiling and, Trey was like, if I do get a chance to choose you, I would want to get to a point where I can feel like I have a connection. And that's the interesting thing. He already have a connection with Justine, but he has to get there to have a connection with Caitlin. And that's primarily because he's physically attracted to her. That's the difference. Whereas there's a deeper connection with Justine. And, Trey said his biggest concern that if, hey, I pick you and there are other guys coming up down the road, then what? And Caitlin was like, and I appreciate her honesty. Caitlin was like, well, honestly, we have the opportunity to get to know other people. This is why we're here. So, that kind of had to sit some kind of way with Trey, because it's like, okay, I'm telling you right now, if you choose me, I'll go and, we'll be a couple. But honestly, if there's somebody else to come along, and I'm interested, I might pursue that. So, she definitely expressed where she's truly at, and that left a lot of information with Trey. And, Caitlin was like, hey, if we did get together, it'd be tons of fun, and I'll get to know him, and I would be loyal, and, hey, we'll have fun cracking eggs and things like that. Yeah, it's surface level to me when it comes with Caitlin and Trey. And I'm hoping that Trey actually sees that when he decides to make his decision, and that, there's a difference with what, he's going to choose dealing with Justine. So he decided to take this conversation to another person, and that person, of course, is Johnny. And the conversation that he chose to have with Johnny was pretty much like, well, what do you think? Is the connection, if I had to choose between who would stick by my side, meaning Caitlin, or if it was a situation with me looking at Justine as being a person that's loyal and would stick around, who do you think the first one that would bounce, pretty much? And Johnny said it. It would be Caitlin. She would be the one that would technically, see a guy coming up down the road and be like, you know what, hey, if I'm interested, I'm out. So, Trey has to consider that. But Johnny also did give objective opinion that, it would be her choice in the end. And at the same time, you haven't explored that, Trey. So, that's something to consider. Maybe you could get there with Caitlyn. So he didn't keep his opinion one-sided. He gave it an objective opinion to look at both sides of this thing, whether it's going to be Justine, who has a deeper connection with him, who, like Trey says, I think that Justine will have my back when it comes down to something. Would Caitlyn be that same girl? He's not sure about that. But at the same time, there's a physical attraction with, emotional attraction with Justine, but a physical attraction with Caitlyn, So the question is going to come down to what is more important to Trey. Is it the physical or is it what's deeper? So we're now at Trey's coupling ceremony. And Trey actually, and I'm telling you, production really put a lot of suspense around this one. I think we went through 2 commercials before we actually got to the actual choosing of this. But Trey said he wanted to couple up with the woman who would actually be that girl that has his back, that actually would want, to that he has a deeper connection with. He haven't had a lot of conversations with, but at the same time, that there's a deeper connection. And I mean, oh my God, they dragged this on. They had shown Justine, then they put the camera on Caitlyn, then they put it back on Trey, and then there was this suspense, and it went back and forth. But the girl that Trey chose to couple up with is, drum roll please, as they, I'm trying to build suspense, so, don't give me a strike on that. But the girl that he chose to couple up with was Justine. And, I mean, she was excited about it. Caitlyn, of course, because she had a lot of confidence. I think she actually went into this thing thinking that Trey was going to pick her, and at the end of the day, the deeper connection won out, and so Trey made his decision, that Justine was his girl, and I know she was absolutely elated by that, so Caitlyn, I mean, there's going to be someone that's going to probably come your way, especially after being on the show. And even Trey was diplomatic about it. But, at the end of the day, he chose Justine. And, that's the girl he's going to be sleeping with in his bed tonight. Only thing I have a concern with, and of course, Caitlyn got that text, that she's been dumped from the island, and that she needs to say her goodbyes and, pack up and leave the villa. Now, let me ask you guys, his expression, was it because he felt that he rejected her or he's going to be missing out on something? So comment down below. A lot of the girls and the guys, because she was one of the first people there, she wasn't like Rachel or Kirsten that was added in. Of course, a lot of the girls knew Caitlyn, so of course she's gone and they're going to miss her. And she'll be fine. I honestly think that after being on the show, she's going to get a lot of popularity, and hopefully she finds that guy who is really meant for her. But at the end of the day, Justine is the new couple with Trey. So you guys rate this couple. I'm going to give them a 7 because what I do notice about Trey, and this is what I was going to talk about a little bit earlier, is that he has yet to kiss Justine. He kissed Caitlyn. He instantly had that, desire to kiss her. He's only given her forehead and cheek kisses. So I'm curious about that. So let's talk about the last portion of this show, because 2 texts came in, and Moira got a text saying that she's going to be meeting a new guy, and Kirsten got a text, and you could tell by Carrington's face he's definitely not happy about that. But both Moira and Kirsten received text messages saying that they have 2 new dates. with two new guys that's coming on the scene, and they're looking pretty excited. I mean, granted, I know this was unexpected, and I think Kirsten has a little bit more of a connection with Carrington than maybe from what we just seen in this episode, where Moira is kind of feeling or pulling back a little bit, just a little bit on James. But, these guys are definitely not happy about the fact that their girls are about to go and meet two new guys that are coming up on the scene. And it was so cute how Kirsten called Carrington and said, "Bring your ass over here." I thought that was cute. But he was really excited about that. And then, of course, Moira was trying to tell James, we're good, don't worry about it. We're just fine. We're going to throw them guys in the friendship zone. You have nothing to worry about. So, yeah, we'll see if they really, truly have nothing to actually worry about. But Kirsten gives Carrington a little kiss before her and Moira decides to go off and meet these two new guys. And I know James seeing her walk out is like, oh my God. And both Carrington as well is like, okay, they tell us not to be worried, but I'm worried. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what these two girls are going to do. But they was like, bring on the man. They were pretty excited. So our first guy is Caleb, who's 24, and he's an IT consultant. I think he's attractive. It seems like he's very nice, very sweet with some of the things he had to say. We don't know how sweet he is until, we actually get to see him in action. But Caleb is the one that's going to have a sit down with Moira. And then we have Calvin as well. And he's I think, 22-year-old that's coming on the scene. And he is, let me think, I know I had it written down. Oh, he's pest control. He's an ex-pest control. He had just left his pest control job to be on the show. So it's going to be interesting. So Caleb and Kirsten and Calvin and Moira are having their little dates, and it seems like Moira is a little bit interested in Calvin. She says that, they have somewhat of a connection. It's a little bit like her type. And I don't know in regards to Caleb and Kirsten if Carrington is going to have a contender here. And I really, truly think, James he's being pushed to the bubble. So I don't know, I know these two guys are kind of concerned. I mean, Carrington is concerned, but okay. So they end their dates by a text message, and Caleb is actually going to have a date now with Jeremiah's couple, Rachel. Then Kirsten is also going on a second date with Calvin. So I know Carrington is spinning out of control with this one. So we'll see what's going to happen next on our next episode of Love Island.